What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is the T.S. Madison Experience, Season 1, Episode 3. So, we pick up with this episode with Maddie and her mom, Mrs. Mary. They are sitting down to the table talking, and Maddie said, listen, Mama, I have had an epiphany. I see a vision, and part of my vision is I want to create a full studio in my basement. Now, we know that she does the Queen Supreme Court and Maddie in the morning out of her basement. And she said that she wants to create many sets that will reflect the setting for that particular show. And that she wants to have a whole film studio in her basement. Then she went on to talk about how she wants some company. And Miss Mary said, well, that's your business. You grown. And she was like, I ain't had a man touch me in a long time, honey. And Miss Mary said, why don't you ask God to touch you? Listen, I am all here for Mrs. Mary and her relationship with God. Because let's be clear. I can respect the fact of someone who said she asked God to take certain desires away from her so she could focus. And one of those desires was sex, and she's been celibate for 20 years. Listen, I respect the hell out of that. It ain't what I think God wants for me, but I respect that is what God wants for her. But no, seriously, I can definitely respect that. Listen, people make those decisions for different reasons. So it was a funny moment, but it was a serious moment, but it was a funny moment. I think Miss Mary was telling Maddie, listen, you better go on and pray on that relationship with God. Like, you do what you got to do, but at the same time, let me have my grown folk time. Then we saw her and Craig working out, and Craig was like, listen, I need you to talk to Oliver. I need you to make it right with Oliver. And he told her, he said, listen, you can be a hard nut to crack sometimes. He said, you've gotten a lot better, but you are not the easiest person to talk to. And when someone is opening up to you and telling you their experience, you have to be respectful that is their experience. But then Maddie said something that I understood. As soon as she said it, I understood it. She said money is a trigger for her. And she don't like people counting her money. Listen, that is one of my biggest pet peeves. Do not count my money. I don't give a damn if I got $1 million in the bank. If I tell you I ain't got it, I ain't got it. But I also understand where all of us coming from, because it's not like he was asking her to loan him money. He was asking her to pay him for a job that he had completed. So I definitely see both sides of it, but I see where the minute money came up, that wall came up. And she was like, people need to understand that it's not my intention to be that way, but it's just a trigger for me. I've been broke. I've been homeless. I've been on the streets, and I ain't going back there. I ain't never going back there. And so I feel like when Oliver said to her, Maddie, you ain't no broke bitch, I think her attitude was, yeah, but that's my stash. Because, it's sort of like that mentality of people who lived through the Great Depression. A lot of probably our grandparents and great-grandparents at this point who lived through the Great Depression never fully trusted banks again. I say this to all of my friends, and I say this to my students all the time. When you have older relatives, great-grandparents, great-uncles and stuff, when they pass away, go through everything clearly. You go through, I'm talking about flip open books, check pockets of everything, check under dresser drawers, because people of that generation who lived through that, they don't trust banks. And so there's money everywhere. And I feel like that's sort of where Maddie is. She got her stash. Maddie probably one of the people that got money everywhere. She probably got 20 accounts, and because she's got that fear of being broke again. So, but at the end of the day, Craig was like, listen, you're better than you used to be, but you ain't perfect, and you need to talk to Oliver. You need to make this right. And I feel like she received what he said. I feel like she received it. Then we had a moment, which I remember this video. It was a young trans girl in Minnesota around the same time as George Floyd. I thought it was New York, but Maddie said on this episode it was Minnesota, and I'm a believer, obviously. That was attacked inside of a convenience store. And I remember seeing the video, and I remember the anger the first time I saw it. I can only imagine T.S. Madison seeing it. And she said, I see me. I see me. And she, called New York, Tiffany, New York, and showed her the video. And Tiffany, of course, had a very strong reaction to it. And, for their relationship to be as close as it is, once again, she saw the same thing that Maddie felt. Like, that could be you. That could be, any one of my LGBTQIA friends. And they brought up a really good point about, listen, if we're going to say that Black Lives Matter, we got to say all Black Lives Matter. Like, we can't be dealing with this hyper masculinity and this homophobia and transphobia, especially as it comes from the Black community against other members of the Black community. You talking about Black Lives Matter, then all lives have to matter. And Maddie struggled, I really say, probably still does to a certain extent, but certainly throughout the rest of this episode, to figure out the best way to use her platform to bring awareness and everything else. And I remember, I don't think it was this particular incident, but I remember Maddie getting a lot of criticism for talking about how trans women specifically need to be protecting themselves and need to be ready, because of incidents like this. She showed the video to Miss Mary, and Miss Mary got very emotional and broke out in tears because, again, when she sees stuff like that, she sees her child. And she said that has always been my biggest fear. Oh, with a daughter who's LGBTQ, that being something that they have to deal with, and it's just a fear, and especially as it relates to trans lives, especially the trans girls. It is just hard. It is really, really hard. And Maddie is angry and emotional, and I'm sure to a certain extent it was triggering. I know Maddie been through some stuff. She's talked about some things in a recent interview. I know she's been through some stuff, but it's gotta be very triggering. Gotta be very triggering. And so she went to her morning show and she had a panel. And I remember this episode. I remember the panel that she had discussing, how we as a community, how Black people could come together with the LGBTQIA community and where the bridge can be built. How can we connect each other? And her fans told her, but Maddie, this is why we love you and we thank you, because you give us what we need. You do it through humor, but it's what we need. It's what we need to see. It's what we need to hear, and we thank you for it. And so she was like, I really needed that. Like, I really needed to know that somebody hears me and that I'm making a difference, right? Then we see Oliver Twixt and Maddie. They had not spoken since they had their fight. She reached out to him, and she went over to his house. They're going to break bread, and they're going to talk about their issues and come together. Oliver said it meant a lot to him that she came, because he was like, Maddie don't come out her house for nothing unless it involves a coin. And so for Maddie to come down here to talk to me means a lot, and I can appreciate it, We got we got some product placement for Oliver's seasoning. Y'all go and order some seasoning. You can go to his website and go get you some of his seasoning honey. But he made some seafood. He said, they bonded over seafood. They both from Florida, and they both enjoy seafood, and so they bonded over that. And so he made some seafood for them to sit down and talk. And ultimately, I think it was a good conversation. And the one thing that Maddie said was, don't check me down the road. Check me in the moment. If I didn't pay you and you couldn't pay your rent, don't wait until later. Tell me now, like, yeah, okay, I know I owe you some money, but check me in the moment and say, Maddie, like, first of all, I shouldn't have to call you when it's payday. And second of all, like, my bills are relying on you paying me. Like, ma'am, like most people live paycheck to paycheck. You my paycheck. And she said, I would have paid your rent for you. Like, I can't be good and you be struggling. And I understood on one end, but on the other end, I'm like, well, all you had to do is pay him what you owe. You wouldn't have to pay his rent. But I understood her point. And she said, I'm giving you permission to check me. She said, I'm giving you permission to check me. I don't give too many people that. I don't let too many people do it. So I'm telling you, I love you enough and I trust you enough that I'm telling you, you have permission to check me. And even though I'm your boss, I'm giving you permission that when I'm out of line and I'm out of place, in the moment, check me. Don't kick it down. Don't kick the can down the road. Don't do that. You know, I love you. We make magic together, and I gotta have you on my team. You know, but more importantly than that, I love you. Like, I love you. Now, here's the other side of fame. Okay, so her and Oliver made up. That's great. That's good. Here's the flip side of fame. And again, I have seen this. I have a lot of YouTube friendships, YouTube relationships, YouTube ships, however you want to call it. And I've seen this happen a lot. You know, people do things for clicks and views. People make videos and they come for bigger content creators because they know it's going to bring traffic. They know it's going to bring clicks and views. And let's be clear, if you monetize on YouTube, you're doing stuff to make money. Okay? Now, how low you willing to go to make that coin, that's a whole nother conversation. But it is what it is. Now, there's a content creator. They had this person blurred out. I don't know who it is. Don't care. Don't want to know. Coming for Maddie. Misgendered Maddie. Said Maddie don't do shit for the trans community. Maddie this, Maddie that. All of these things. Maddie ready to go straight ham and cuss him all the way out. Legra is telling her, you can't do that, Maddie. Maddie, you can't do that. Maddie, you can't do that. You understand that you have an opportunity here that everybody don't have. You know that you got the networks looking at you. You know that you have these opportunities rolling through. But if every time somebody piss you off, you go to the internet and clap back, those opportunities are going to stop coming your way. And she was like, but this is what I do. Like, I've been on social media for 10 years, and whenever somebody came for me, I came for them. You know, they came for me, I hit back harder. Like, I ain't used to this. I ain't used to this. And Legra was like, yeah, but you haven't always been in this situation either. You haven't always been at this platform. And Legra was like, promise me that you won't react. Like, just promise me that you won't react. And she was like, I don't know if I can. You know, she was like, I'm going to try. I don't know if I can promise you that, but I'm a, okay, Legra, I'm a, you know, like, I don't know if I can promise. Ooh, I don't know if I can promise that girl. Then we saw Maddie talking to New York about it. And New York said, listen, Maddie, I used to be that way too. You know, I used to clap back. But what I noticed is, she said, I haven't clapped back since the early 2000s. And what I noticed was when I stopped clapping back, my bank account got bigger. The opportunities got bigger. When I stopped letting everybody get my attention, she said, listen, them people that are attacking you from their personal page. That should already tell you something. And you know what? I ain't mad at her. Like, I ain't even mad at what she's saying because she ain't wrong. She ain't wrong. And I'm not even mad at what she's saying. She said, listen, if you absolutely, positively got to get it off your chest, make the video. Cuss them out. Say whatever it is you need to say. And then delete it. Don't upload it. Delete it. But say what you got to say. Get it off your chest. Delete it. Maddie was like, all right, I'm going to try. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Then she talked to Chi-Chi. Listen. Y'all know Chi-Chi hood. Chi-Chi was like, clap back on that ass. Cuss them out. Whoop their ass. Do what you got to do. Say what you got to say. You ain't no punk. Clap back on that ass. And so she got the angel, which is Tiffany, on one shoulder. She got the devil. I'm not calling Chi-Chi a devil, but y'all know what I'm saying. on the other shoulder, and she like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm sick of this. I'm tired of this. I feel like I'm getting beat up, and I can't say what I need to say. I can't be myself. I can't come back. I can't give it back to him. And we even see how it was wearing on her. She did her morning show, and her energy was low, and she just couldn't really give it her all. She had the trans, the young lady that was beat up on her heart. People questioning her intent. People questioning her commitment to the community, and it just was a lot. You saw it really weighing on her throughout this episode, and it was like, listen, I gotta clap back. Like, I just cannot. So Legra put her in touch with a publicist. She said, listen, Beyonce don't clap back. Beyonce got a PR team, and they spin it however they need to spin it. And so they had a meeting with the publicist, and I already knew that TS won't feeling it. Not that she won't feeling the publicist, but T.I. won't feeling not letting somebody else fight her battle, so to speak. She used to fight her own battle. She used to say what needs to be said, how, when, where, and who it needs to be said to. And she just not used to not responding. It's almost like, I think she feels like it's a sign of weakness that she doesn't respond. And it's not. But that's a hard thing. We see Cardi B is another example. People keep telling her, you can't respond. You got to stop responding to these trolls. You are bigger than this. Like, why are you giving them the satisfaction? And T.S. heard what the publicist was saying. But again, I was like, T.S. ain't gonna do this. She just ain't. And so later on, at the end of the episode, we saw T.S. filming a clapback. And she went back and forth. Should I upload it? Not. Should I upload it? Not. Should I upload it? Not. And y'all know what she did. She uploaded that damn clapback. And poor thing, the last thing we saw was Legra looking at the video going, I need a drink. Listen, Tia's a work in progress. She gonna get it. But it's hard when your whole life you've been fighting your own battles. It's hard to let somebody else take over. And it's hard to not respond when people coming for your character and your integrity. It's hard. Anyway, that is what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.